Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph Labella.
And I'm Ron Sen. 2013, Age of the Geek. Dean Oliver is to basketball what Bill James was to baseball. Moneyball is being replaced by other basketball analytics statistics. And it's hard to know where that's going to go. You know, I wrote to Dean Oliver today. I haven't got a reply yet, and I was kind of wondering, what's better, to get more shots or few quality shots? I don't know if I'll get an answer. At the recent MIT Sloan Conference, Sports Analytics Conference, 29 teams from the NBA sent representatives. And the four major factors that determine winning are shooting percentage, turnovers, rebounding, and free throws taken. And I'm wondering, you know, how do you get more quality shots within the context of getting enough shots? For example, last year, if you make the presumption that the high school team could score 3 times for every 10 possessions, that's only 6 points difference. If they'd been able to get 10 more possessions a game by reducing turnovers, let's say 6 or 7, getting a couple more steals, a couple more rebounds, then they would have gone 12 and 8 instead of 6 and 14. So reducing mistakes to get more possessions and even better, some quality shots, is the difference between being a very successful team and an average team.
Well, I would think you can get more quality shots and get as many shots if you handle the ball right and use the shot clock properly.
Well,
if you're forcing up shots with 15 seconds going to shot clock, taking a bad shot, I mean, you have to improve on that. So to me, that's a mistake.
Well, I think also if you're in transition, you're going to get better shots than many times if you're playing half court.
And a lot more shots, too.
And a lot more shots. And you're going to get 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. So you should get shots, and you should be able to get offensive rebounds out of those, too.
Right. Well, you know, we both love the up-tempo game. We love pressure defense, good rebounding, steals, hands on passes, going into transition, pushing the ball until you know you don't have the advantage. I mean, we do that with the younger girls, and we see how successful that can be. And in high school, to me, that could be really successful. Again, conditioning is number one, but you get quality shots off of transition.
Now, they had a great interview today with Gerard Mayo of the Patriots, and they asked him about OTAs, out-season training activities. And they said about Bill Belichick, what do you think? He said, he's a football guy, I'm a football guy, I love being here. And that's what you really need to be successful. You need to have enough guys who really, it's not a chore for them to go to work, it's because they love work.
Well, the players have to believe in the coach.
Right.
Very simple. Chelly, volleyball. Players believe in Coach Chelly. They love playing for him. They work hard. They work in the off season. What do they have? How many times have they gone to the Final Four?
And he's going for a double. You know, his teams at St. John's is in the divisional sectional semifinal. They've won, I think, 3 games to get to there so far, and they play Chelmsford Monday, I believe.
They're playing Chelmsford at St. John's.
At St. John's on Monday.
So they're seated number 2 in Division One.
Right. It's a really different game. We went to the game last night up at St. John's Prep, and the game is much more power-oriented. There's not a lot of long rallies, and a big difference is the serving is not nearly as good as in the girls' game.
Except, what's his name, Keogh.
Oh, yeah. St. John's has a player, Brian Keogh, who's a fantastic player, fantastic server, and he was a difference maker in the 3rd set last night.
Well, the first set, too, when he won 10 serves in a row. I mean, he was shooting bullets.
Now, today's the first day of the Memorial Championship. You know, incomplete scores were available when we went to show. And one disappointing outcome was Rory McIlroy shot 78. So I think he is about 13 shots off the pace.
Wow.
So just wasn't his day.
How'd Bradley do?
I didn't see how he did. Charles Schwartzel, I think, was 7 under. He was the leader in the clubhouse. And when we think this year, it's baseball, of course, and the Yankees are finally getting some of their players back.
Yeah, and they're not hitting. They need to get them back now. I mean, they lost to the Mets. They got swept 3 in a row, but 2 of the losses, the first 2 were 2-1. What's his name? blew his first save.
Yeah, Rivera.
And they were winning 1-0. He didn't get an out. They scored 2 runs to beat the Yankees. But the Yankees need some bats now.
He has over 600 career saves. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it was 16 for 16 until he blew this last one.
He's been incredible, and he's announced that this is going to be his final year.
Yeah, but I wonder if it really will be if he.
Well, they've got Mark Teixeira and Kevin Youkilis in Double-A. Granderson came back and got hurt again. Derek Jeter, I hear, is throwing the ball. I don't know what his running situation
They
is.
definitely need help. I mean, they started off really well, after the Red Sox series, but you can see it now. They're not scoring many runs.
And then we're in the interleague play section, which I detest interleague play. Part of it is I don't see the Philadelphia Phillies as natural rivals. I don't really think there's anybody on the East Coast that's a natural rival for the Red Sox.
Well, Papelbon saved 2 games in a row for them, so.
Yeah, he didn't pitch too well last night. Now, the other story this week was Nick Cafardo's story about how fabulous Jacoby Ellsbury is. He's the best athlete in the system, and the Red Sox should be working hard to re-sign him. Well, I'll tell you this, Nick. I've never seen such a big man crush on any player ever. Or the other possibility is somebody hijacked your column. Even Steve Silva had to be wondering about that, one of the Globe sports editors. Jacoby's at .680 about for OPS. Daniel Nava, the Northern League reject or whatever, is in the top 20 in OPS. Jacoby's not even on the radar.
And he's still hitting about 250, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little over 260.
He got that big hit against Cleveland.
He is hitting better. He's a good defensive center fielder. But before we talk about him as, the impact player in the system, let's get real. He's not even one of the top center fielders in the American League at this point. At some point along the way, production has to count. Dustin Pedroia has been playing hurt the whole season, having had an injured thumb, and he's just out of the top 20 in OPS and wins above replacement. He's at 3.1, which is second in the league to Chris Davis of the Orioles, to Manny Machado of the Orioles. So before we talk about Jacoby Ellsbury as being re-signed for big money, let's get real.
Well, Bradley's going to be the center fielder next year. Ellsbury's not going to sign with the Red Sox. That's a definite.
They're never going to give him that much money.
No, and he's going to get $17 million from some other team, 17, 18 million. It's going to be a bidding war. Especially if there's not many talented players like last year. They're going to look what the Red Sox paid for Victorino in Drew.
Yeah.
They gave Drew $9 million.
I know. Well, it's never been the price of stardom that's the issue. It's the high price of mediocrity.
But that's funny. They won't give Ellsbury the money. They didn't give Papelbon the money, but they give these other people the money. Victorino. Look what Papelbon did for them all those years.
Right.
So they don't want to give him $13 million a year, but they want to give Victorino 14.
Well, they're paying for character and chemistry, not for playing. Victorino is an okay player when he's actually out there.
But I just don't understand it. Throughout the year, giving Crawford $20 million. I don't know what their thinking was.
Well, I think they don't want to say this is another bridge year, but they're looking for the killer bees, Bradley, Brents, Bogarts, and Barnes, to be coming forward in the future. Now, the other guy that nobody's really talking about is Anthony Renato, who they drafted a few years ago. He was hurt for a couple of years. Now he's back. He pitched a 7-inning one-hitter the other night. He's been, pitching lights out at Double-A. Now, we'll see that, he's had a lot of health problems, what his future is. Bogarts last night had 3 hits, 2 homers, and he's coming along. But again, it's, being productive at Double-A or Triple-A and then being an impact player in the majors are 2 different things.
Yeah, and then you got to watch out for Buchholz now with his arm. Well, he always has that problem.
Well, the story on Buchholz, supposedly after the game he went home and his baby fell asleep on his arm and he's got a sore arm. What? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
That's ridiculous. You know how he hurt it. He hurts it every year. Either it's his back, upper back, or it's his shoulder.
Well,
he overthrows. Everybody knows that.
I don't know what it is, but at some point along the way, you have to give the fans a reasonable story. Like who was it? The guy a few years ago supposedly woke up having a dream about spiders and then fell out of bed on a glass, and you can't even make this up.
No.
That can't be real. I always thought about writing a novel where a player has got a bad arm and he's saying he was mistreated by the medical staff when he really was in a barroom brawl. Got
Oh,
hurt.
yeah, I mean, that happens all the time.
At least that would be realistic. Now, went to the Red Sox game on Saturday. They don't call, it's almost impossible for a game to be rained out anymore. Maybe last night it could have been incredible thunder and lightning, but it was misting the whole game. And but however, right now there are a lot of fans disguised as empty seats at Fenway Park.
Well, you see it every night now.
You know,
Every game there's a ton
probably
of open seats.
2/3 of the bleachers were empty the day I was there. And we're having a lot of interviews with Pedro Martinez. I'm not exactly, I guess he's a pitching consultant now. And they're talking about whether he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, he had 7 or 8 years of dominance with the Sox, and
Koufax,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
did the same thing Sandy Koufax
Yeah,
did.
he really had comparable years for the era that he was pitching in. Now, the other thing is, anybody who's been to Fenway Park lately has to wonder about the concession prices. You know, a water costs as much as a World Series ticket did in 1975. A hot dog is over $5.
How much is the water? $4.50?
$4.25, and I mean, obviously people are buying them, but you know, I don't know. To me, it's just outrageous.
You know, it's funny. You go to a store and you look and you see, okay, you get a 28 pack now of Poland Spring for like $3. 28 bottles Poland Spring for $3. You go to Fenway Park for one, you pay $4.25.
Well, you know, the criteria for bottled water is it has to be as good as tap water.
No, but I know, but know the funny thing, Ron? You go to a store, if Poland Spring is $4.99, you won't want to get it. You wait till it's $3.99 or like you get 3 for $10, which is $3.33 for one. But then you go to Fenway Park and you'll buy like 3 of them for $4.25.
Well, not me. The other news today is that George Brett has moved from vice president of baseball operations at Kansas City to become the hitting coach. Now, George Brett could probably hit better than most of the guys in Kansas City, but you know, Brett's famous, of course, for the pine tar incident.
That was
where he
funny.
had-
Was Rivera pitching that game?
I
When
think
he hit the home run? Who did he hit the home
I think
run?
it was.
Oh, maybe it was
I want to
Backmore.
say it was Ramon Martinez, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was. But anyway, Brett had supposedly the pine tar was too high up the bat, and you know, like having pine tar on your bat. So anyway, his home run got called back. It was ultimately protested and reversed. You know, baseball never reverses anything, but they actually did. Now, here's a question for fans. Who is the major league leader and American League hitter with the most home runs? And you know, I knew Chris Davis was off to a great start, but it's Chris Davis. Now, Chris Davis is hitting over .350 with 19 homers and 50 RBIs. He's in contention for the Triple Crown. I mean, to me, before this season, he was most famous for coming in as a position player and getting the win against the Red Sox, I think, last year.
Yeah.
So, you know, and you've got Miguel Cabrera, still one of the top players.
He's unbelievable.
And Encarnacion on Toronto is his third. Now, what was shocking to me is the batting average leader in the National League. Obviously, there's not enough time for me to follow all this. There's a guy named Gene Segura. I never even heard of the guy. He's 23 years old from the Dominican Republic, and he's hitting .360. He's a candidate to win the batting title as a rookie. And yeah, it's just too much to do. You know, although to me the highlight of last week was walk-off inside the park home run by Angel Pagan out at AT&T Park. I think it's AT&T Park in San Francisco. He hit one off the right field wall, and it caromed out towards center field. Walk-off 2-run homer. Unbelievable.
I think my pick to win it all is going to be Atlanta this year, the Braves. I'm picking them to win it.
Well, we'll see. It's kind of interesting in a way. The team I can't understand at all is the Angels. They have plenty of talent. They just can't do anything right now.
Yeah, they don't. Well, the pitching, they don't have a great bullpen. Well, the Red Sox. I mean, I think the Red Sox have, if Buck Holtz is all right with him and Lester, and
well, they've hung in
you know,
there amazingly well with kind of a limited lineup.
yeah.
Well, we'll be right back.
At Athletic Evolution, it starts with a purpose and ends with your success. Visit our website or drop into our training facility at 78B Olympia Avenue, Woburn, Mass. Athletic Evolution, giving you the edge.
Welcome back. Tonight for our sports conversation, we're fortunate to have Carlos Rodriguez, a Melrose High School parent and coach with a lot of experience playing soccer and coaching and soccer and lacrosse. Welcome, Carlos.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Well, what's your favorite sport?
The sport that I'm playing at the moment, I guess. I love them all. I grew up, I was born in Central America, and I grew up in Charlestown. So as a 10-year-old boy growing up in Charlestown, hockey was one of my favorites. Played basketball, not organized, but pick up. Soccer, which was my sport growing up in Honduras till I was 10, which I love and I'm still passionate about. Unfortunately, when I came here in the 60s, there weren't a lot of soccer teams around. And growing up in Charlestown, I occasionally was able to talk a couple of my friends into maybe kicking the ball around, but that was about it.
Talk to us about the soccer program now at the high school.
The soccer program at the high school the last couple of years has had what we consider some success because we've been to the tournament the last couple of years. I mean, this past year we lost in penalty kicks. We lost to Gloucester. So the program's coming along. We've been in the tournament for the last couple of years, and we expect to be in the tournament again this year.
Do you have many players back from the varsity next year?
We actually lost about 14 seniors, but we do have we have a sophomore group and also a freshman group that's coming in that we're very excited about, that I think will help us compete again this year.
Now, without getting into specifics about the incoming players or the existing players, philosophically, tell us about your approach to the game.
Well, my game, the game that I like to play, and it's the game that's played a lot in Brazil, or at least it was back when, back in the 70s and 80s, is I love the teams that attack from the back. I believe that everything starts from the back. For me, if we have a strong defensive team and the team that can transition out of the back, I think you'll have more success up front, getting shots and getting scoring opportunities.
So you're talking about the defensive players attacking in a way?
I'm talking about the defensive players being more involved with the offense.
Now, can they attack? Can they can go?
Oh, absolutely.
And who covers up? Does someone have to cover up for them?
Then
when
you would, if you see, let's say you see an outside right defender run up, carry the ball, get involved with the offense and the attack in third. Then it's the responsibility of a midfielder to maybe stay back and fill in that gap.
Now, you coach the freshman team?
I'm coaching the freshman team.
Now, when I played a million years ago, the theme tended to be that you had a lot of bigger defensive players and smaller attackers. And has that changed over time, or is there no real theme existing?
Well, as I see it now, the bigger you are, the better. I think the better it's going to be. As a coach, if you have height and speed, that's the player that I
mean, to me, you watch soccer on TV like Norway or something, and they have these enormous defenders in the back. Guys that are 6'3", 6'4", that kind of thing.
Sure, and then they control the air game. Anything up in the air, those big guys are going to go up there and get it.
Now, during the season, if you have someone who's playing really well, do you move them up to the JVs, a freshman player? And does the JV team move a
What-
player up to the varsity?
Yes, what we did last year actually is because we, last year with the freshmen that came in last year, there were some pretty good players in that class. And what we did is we combined both teams. So what we had in reality was maybe a JV1 and a JV2. So we were able to move players, and we would bring mostly everybody to the games because we would use everybody.
Now, how many players do you have try out for the team at the beginning of the season? Do you have a
Last
lot?
year, I think we had about 68 players that came to tryouts.
And how many did you keep?
And we ended up with probably about, I think he carries 18 on his varsity roster. 18, and we carried maybe about 20 on each of the rosters below the varsity. So,
you know, with girls sports, being part of the team is so important to the players. It's not necessarily that they play a lot or that they're major contributors, but being part of the group just seems so important to the girls.
and it is. You know, I've obviously growing up, I played, and what I found the big difference to be with the girls, and I know this from coach. I have 2 daughters, and I know from coaching both daughters is that you know, not only do they want to be friends or teammates on the field, but oftentimes off the field they come together as a group, and it's important to them to be not just a part of the team on the field, but I think off the field.
Now in soccer anyway, the Middlesex League's had some perennially strong teams like Winchester, for example. Usually Lexington and Belmont are very good. What separates those teams from Melrose? Is skill, athleticism, experience?
I think I'm going to go with the experience and the skills. And the reason why I'm saying that is because those kids probably play more soccer than our kids do here in Melrose. A lot of those kids are club players. I'll give you an example. I think we have maybe 2 or 3 players in the program. And the program is made up of at least 60 kids that play club. And then you probably go to Winchester or those other towns that you just mentioned, and I'm willing to bet that there's probably an easy 10 of those players on that
Why
team
aren't
that are club
why aren't more
players.
playing club?
With the group that I sort of I'm going to say that I'm coaching now, and the group that my daughter has come up with. My daughter's a freshman this year. They're multi-sports players, so they're not dedicated to just that one sport. You know, most of them play 3 sports. You know, they're playing lacrosse, they're playing soccer, and they're playing basketball.
Yeah, but like the volleyball program, right? All those girls are playing 3 sports too, and they're all doing club. Actually, club. I mean, if you're going to play volleyball, and you hope to make the varsity, you better play in the off season.
You got to play in the off season,
Yes.
and I agree with you. You know, I mean, if it was up to me, I would have them all in club.
But you would think
But-
soccer, where it's especially the youth programs are really good, solid. You would think that they would be able to compete with the. I mean, the Middlesex League in all the sports is real strong, especially in soccer. So, I mean, to be competitive, I mean, more than 3 girls have to play club. I would think.
I would think so too, you know, but again, I mean, if it was up to me, I would love to have the whole team playing the club team. We actually did just finished up, we put a team in the Maple League, and we just finished up with a tournament this past weekend.
And most of the girls played.
They're all high
Oh,
school,
good.
yeah, and they all
So
play.
they're playing.
So they're playing now, yeah. So we're starting to get more involved in the off season with these girls, and they do a lot of things off season as a group. They have a great conditioning program that they've been doing for years.
And they love the varsity coach, right? I mean, you have a good
Bill
coaching
DeSimone is
staff.
a great guy. I mean,
And who's the JV coach?
The JV coach is Jen McClellan, who's, again, she's been with the program for about 5 or 6 years. I'm sort of a rookie with the program. I just completed my 2nd year. But Jen also runs a club program, the Azori Club. So she's been involved with soccer for a long time. And I mean, I love the way she teaches these kids the skills part of the game. You know, she has more patience than I do with that.
Tell us where you see the lacrosse program at this time.
You know, I'm very excited about the lacrosse program. You know, I was
Your daughter's a star as a freshman, so you must be.
Well, you know, it's nice to see that, but there's a handful, more than a handful
Yeah.
of kids there who are very good players.
Bayrod.
You know, Katie Bayrod, you got Anna Steele, you got Watson.
I'm on Anna Steele, and I hope she must be watching the games because I think she can be a superstar.
Oh, she can be as good as she wants to be.
Yeah.
And again, that's another thing that we're trying to do with lacrosse. And Jim Thorpe is helping us out, and we're trying to get them into leagues where we can play off season.
Yeah, that's going to be important because you have a lot of talent, especially. And then I hear the talent coming up is strong.
The talent coming up is strong. I know those girls that are coming up because some of the freshman girls, my Haley, Katie Bayer, Haley Matei have played with these girls that are coming up.
Yeah, you can tell the freshmen know the game really well.
Yeah, and they enjoy it. They love it. They love playing.
I did the games last year and I did the games this year, and you can see a huge difference. I mean, last year the seniors did a real good job keeping that team together, but this year you can see the talent coming up. The only thing I was a little disappointed in was that Watertown game because conditioning is big, and they just kept running away from us. You know, we know how to play the game. It's just that the conditioning, they were a lot quicker than us.
We definitely have some work that we have to do, and Coach Arkins she's recognized that, and we know.
And you're the assistant coach.
I'm the assistant coach, and yes, Coach Arkins is the varsity coach. But we recognize those things, and I think now that we're getting some of those kids that are coming up that have been in the youth program for 5 or 6 years. I think you're going to see a big difference. I think you're going to see a difference on how we play defense now. I mean, in the past couple of years, we've been concerned with the speed. You know, do we want to play man-to-man? Do we move everybody up? Are we going to get beat at the 40, or do we drop everybody back and hope that we have a chance to maybe set up the zone if we can hold them till the zone gets set up?
Do you think girls lacrosse will evolve over time or change so that it ends up looking more like boys lacrosse, a more physical game, more protection, helmets, that sort of thing?
You know what? Part of me wishes it would, because there's a lot of whistles. As if you've done some games, so as you know, there's a lot of whistles in girls lacrosse, and they need to clean some of that up. They need to let it flow a little more. I think some of the girls wouldn't mind putting helmets on.
I mean, players like your daughter in Watson, in Steele, they like to attack constantly. So you could tell they want to play the physical game.
Their instincts are to attack.
But you know what bothers me, though, and I don't know the game as well as you do. When they get in there and they're ready to shoot and the whistle blows, it's a foul on the other team, but you're in perfect position to shoot the ball, and they blow the whistle, and you, even if you score, it doesn't count.
Yeah,
I think that should change that rule.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, because it's almost like you said, even when they score, and then by blowing that whistle and giving you what they call a free
Free position
position shot.
Yeah.
It's almost putting you at a disadvantage. So I agree. It should.
Well, in basketball, a good official will let something go if you have the advantage.
It should be a continuation, just like basketball.
I was talking to Jeff about that, and he asked about it, Jeff Mate. He asked about that, and they said, well, the problem is when they blow the whistle, they can't let it go because the goalie stops playing. But why can't they raise their hand up when you're inside it? That's the arc, right?
That's you got the 8-meter arc and the 12-meter arc.
Once you're inside that 12-meter arc, put your hand up.
Oh,
and
hold
then
the flag up.
And,
I agree.
And whatever, and then let the play go, and then blow the whistle.
Let the play finish out.
Because the team with the ball that's getting fouled is getting penalized.
It's getting penalized. Yeah, this is not the first time that I'm sure this discussion has been had. I think you might see that change someday.
But I'm really loving the game, and I didn't think I would because I didn't grow up with lacrosse, and I really. The first time we saw it was when we went to see the what a first game. We got right on the field to see the All-Star game, the Pro All-Star game.
Oh, yeah, those guys can play.
At Harvard Stadium.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. But, I mean, I'll tell you, I really enjoyed the lacrosse that was being played. And the one thing I would say is getting better condition. Because they know how to play the game.
Absolutely. It is a fun sport. And I think the more exposure it gets, there will be more girls coming out. I think, definitely Melrose is on the rise.
But one more thing. When I see your daughter, and what's your daughter's first name again?
Haley.
Haley. When I see Haley attack, she's always thinking attack. Watson's always thinking attack. Steele, more play, passing the ball, but lately was thinking, at the end of the year, she started attacking, and Maeve at the end of the year. Why don't more girls think attacking?
Well, You know, with Steele, she's a playmaker, I think,
Right.
first. Instinctively, she's a playmaker. We're not holding her back. I mean, we want to see
Yeah.
goals.
Well, she had that game when she had 4 goals.
She had a very good. I think she had a couple of games where
Wilmington,
she scored
yeah.
4 goals. What I noticed from her is that when she comes in from the, if I'm facing the goal, they would be from my left. And she takes a couple of those quick steps. She gets right in there, and she has a lot of success scoring. We'd like to see more of that out of her.
Now,
Yeah.
how much difference, let's say you had one more player, one superstar player. I'll give you an example. Grace Salona is from Melrose. She plays for Bishop Fenwick. I know she's got a scholarship, I think, to Iona to play
Yeah.
lacrosse. And she's been a big contributor up there. I'm not saying it has to be Grace Salona, but if you had a similar player, does that change the whole dynamic of your program?
Well, that would give us another player.
That's like Hennessy from Winchester.
Right.
Grace
right.
is playing with Hennessy in
Yeah,
club. Is
in
that
club.
club too?
That's
Yeah,
club, right? Yeah. Well, that would give us one more player, one more option, somebody else that the other teams have to key on. I mean, if you notice, as the season went on, some of our players, like Anna Steele, Watson, Haley, Katie Barra, a lot of them were getting double and triple team.
Right.
You
They
know,
are all the time.
They are all the time. So, the more players you have like that, the more options you're going to have on the field.
Now, what year is Garofalo in?
She's going to be a senior.
See, I saw her more aggressive towards the end of the year also. She may be another player. And then when you have all these incoming freshmen that are real talented.
Oh, we're really excited.
We coach a lot of them in basketball.
And you coach them in
Yeah.
basketball. You know how committed those kids are. I mean,
It's a great group.
I give that group a lot of credit. I think you've had them 4 or 5 years, and the commitment's tremendous.
I mean, if there's as much talent coming up as this year's talent with your daughter's group, that's going to be something.
I think it's going to be there, and so we're going to have depth, and that's going to make a big difference. No matter who we send out on that field, there's going to be someone who's going to be able to finish, somebody who's going to be able to defend, somebody who's going to be able to compete with no matter who we put out there.
I know the high schools had a conditioning and strength program that I think is available to the girls as well as the boys, but I don't think too many girls have taken participation in it so far. Would that make much difference for your players?
Oh, you're talking about the weight program? The
Well, a
gym?
bigger, faster, stronger program.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm always pushing that. Absolutely, yeah.
Especially in that sport.
I know with the girls because I'm always talking to both the lacrosse and the soccer girls to get into that program. And I know with them, they get a little intimidated walking in there with the boys working out. But we're working on that. We're trying to get them into the gym. Sure, core strength is the best thing an athlete can do for themselves.
Now, what year is Sullivan in?
Sullivan's going to be a senior, too.
So she's back.
She's back.
Got a lot of talent
We
coming
have a lot of
back.
talent coming back. And I think a couple of the 8th graders are very good defensively.
But know what I'd love to see, though? Like you see some sports where the progression keeps going. I mean, do they know that they could be a great team? Will they work in the off season? Because if they work in the off season at lacrosse, then they're going to improve. That team could be powerful in a year or two.
We think, yeah, and we talked about that today. We had our end of the year meeting today with the girls, and Coach Harkins went over all the options that they have. With club teams and with other things that we're going to put together, so they can stay involved in the off season. And we told them how important preseason is going to be. But there's never really been a true preseason for these girls.
Yeah, you have plenty of time in the summer. I mean, when people say, well, how are they going to do club in lacrosse? How are they going to do club in soccer or another sport? But there's plenty of time in the summertime.
Well, there isn't, because then we've already started with soccer.
Yeah.
We have a summer soccer league. We have the conditioning program that starts in 2 weeks. And that's 3 days a week from 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. And that's strictly conditioning. And then twice a week they go into the soccer summer league.
Well, I'm sure you remember being a kid. I remember I played on the Wakefield Town team, the Stoneham Legion team, 2 games a week basketball and a day of soccer. I mean, that was a lot for the summer, but it was just what you did.
Yeah, we used to play baseball every day.
Yeah.
We'd go out and play baseball for 4 hours.
I so did I. Growing up, we would, and I tell my daughters this, that growing up in Charlestown, we'd go up to the Buck Hill Park, and we would play softball in the morning. We'd get a basketball game in before noontime. And then in the afternoon, we're out there throwing a football, and that's how we
great
grew
for
up.
the kids. It's
Yeah.
great that they have something to look forward to. Now, what other sports does your daughter play, Haley?
Haley's playing lacrosse, soccer, and basketball.
I've seen her in basketball. I haven't seen her in soccer. She's tremendous in lacrosse. And she's good in basketball. She was on the freshman team. She played,
Freshman team, right, right.
We played them one
Yeah,
game.
right,
and
right.
She looked good.
Yeah.
She was the 4 or the 5 for them. She was very physical
Yeah.
and low.
Yeah, she's hopefully she matures a little more, and as well as the rest of the kids.
Yeah.
I think with confidence.
There's a lot of
and-
talent
and if-
around
no,
now.
there
Young
is.
talent.
There
There's a lot of
is.
young talent. that
There
wants
is.
to
You know,
play.
basketball's a tough game to
Yeah.
compete in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you out there, Carlos, and strong girls teams all around.
Thank you, guys. I'm
Thank
really
you,
excited
Carlos.
about
Thanks
the
for coming in.
seasons coming up.
We'll
Thank
be
you.
right back.
On and off the court, Visionary Basketball Group delivers programs that empower players with skills for athletic and personal success. Our players undergo learning experiences that position them for positive lifelong achievement on and off the court.
Hello, my name is Anthony Taylor, founder of Visionary Basketball Group, VBG. It's a year-round basketball player development organization ranging from preschool to college and professional level, girls and boys. We cater to all skill levels, starting from beginner, intermediate, and advanced. One of the biggest things that we have is our coaching staff, who do a phenomenal job at mentoring the players on a regular basis with the training, the teaching, and the knowledge. We operate 7 days a week. We offer over 30 sessions, and we're considered one of the top comprehensive basketball player development organizations in New England. And another key aspect that we do is that we have kids coming from all different areas, urban, suburban communities, uniting as one. And that's what makes VBG a phenomenal organization that helps kids gain confidence, leadership, discipline, self-esteem. And if you have a chance, come down and see what we do at Visionary Basketball Group.
VBG player athletes are rising stars in elementary, middle school, high school, and college basketball. We apply the same approach to training with every participant at VBG and produce players who are prepared for maximum performance. Visionary Basketball not only provides programs for individuals, we can also come to your town, school, or any institution to customize a structured program for your team or basketball organization. For more information, please log on to our website, www.visionarybasketball.com, or drop into our Athletic Performance Center at 152 Tremont Street, Melrose, Mass. BBG, complete your vision.
Welcome back. We have Lou, the hockey guru, with us. I've already forfeited any right to say anything about hockey since I know nothing, having picked the Rangers in 6. Lou, welcome.
Welcome to you guys. I haven't seen you in 2 whole weeks.
Well, talk to us about Pittsburgh and Bruins. It can't be a better matchup than that.
Hey, you know, they lost 3 one-goal games during the season. If Pittsburgh's supposed to be way better and a big favorite, I don't know. I think we have a hell of a good shot.
Well, that one game, weren't they ahead by 2 goals with like
Yeah,
5 minutes to
that
go, and
hurt.
they ended up losing it? But, so they were dominating that game.
Yeah, I think, you know what, we've all been around long enough to know the regular season can be a nice barometer, but most oftentimes it's not. Games played much faster, it's much more physical. I mean, you know what I think in the spirit of will LeBron get called in basketball, it's can you hit Crosby and Malkin and not get sent to the box? I think that's really the biggest thing that this series is going to swing upon, because if they don't get physical with those Penguins, forget it. You know, I'm not saying you can't win, but you're going to get a hell of a lot more odd man rushes. You know, Crosby's a complete player. He'll get the puck to other people. They get it to him. He's going to go to the net and take shots. You can't give him a free pass.
Is he going to stay healthy? It seems like he's always getting hurt.
And that's why hit, and hit. Anyone that says that they want to take the violence and the hitting out of hockey, go watch soccer. You know, and I like soccer, but guess what? You got to hit. The Bruins, they have to do exactly what won them the cup a couple of years ago. They have to be physical.
You know, hockey's my 4th favorite sport behind basketball.
Couch chip tossing.
Behind basketball, baseball, and football. I like hockey. I used to have season tickets years ago when they were 6 teams. My family had them. But I'm really looking forward to this. I can't wait for it. Pittsburgh and the Bruins.
Well, it seems like it's been a month since they played.
But it's going to be a great series. What matchups? Bergeron against Crosby?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some matchup things.
Lucic is playing real good now. He's going to be battling.
I'm sorry, I'm still going back to when you said when there were 6 teams. I was thinking when there were 6 teams, I was in kindergarten. No, wait, I wasn't in school
Yeah, you
yet.
don't remember Terry Sawchuk and Gump Worsley.
No, I don't remember Jesus being a teenager either. And
I
think
remember one year we went to the first game, right? When they were playing Montreal, back when there were 6 teams. And the Bruins lost them. That time they were winning 5 games a year, the Bruins.
Yeah.
5, 6 games. And they lost 5-0. And it was unbelievable. Well, we're all walking home. We said it's going to be the same thing. I still remember that conversation I had with my uncles. I mean, the whole family had the season tickets. But that was great hockey. I mean, that was back before Esposito came over, and they had Makita and Warren in Chicago.
Yeah.
There was some great, but I mean now, I mean you have this matchup. I'm really looking forward. I mean, I think Bergeron can play with Crosby. I mean, where they'll get hurt is on the power plays if they have too many power plays. Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think Bergeron. You know what? I mean, there were times when I think he's the best player on the team. I just think, geez, he'll set anybody up. He can get that puck to anybody. He's a great passer. He's a great setup guy. They got to do what they just did to New York. We didn't think that was going to happen. I mean, you want to talk about the nobody saw it coming. I want to know, anybody, did you pick that series in 5 games? Because
Well, you can't pick Krug to score 4 goals. You can't pick the young defenseman to be productive. You can't pick the 4th line to be a real contributor.
A lot of people didn't realize how good Toronto was, though. Toronto's an excellent skating team. You see some of those games, both teams are flying up and down the ice.
And that's why I think Toronto did 2 things. They woke the Bruins up. I think I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, they woke them up with 10 minutes to go. I mean, that was just pure desperation. I think the Bruins got lucky.
You have to be lucky in that situation.
But I think that was their that series was kind of their, holy crap, we're in the playoffs. This isn't we're not sleepwalking like we have been for the past 15 games. They went into New York, and that was an all business. To me, that was just a total blue-collar win. They did the little things. They did the things that their coach and staff demanded of them. And if not for Rask falling asleep in that Game 4, it would have been a sweep.
But have you seen any of the Blackhawks or the Kings? That looks like they're playing at a whole different speed than what's happening out here.
Blackhawks are a lot faster than the Bruins are, at least at first glance. I don't know what they're going to do if they have to play them. I mean, you know what? Detroit is looking like they're going to go home. They had a 3-1 impossible lead against Chicago, and now they're on. I don't know. I can't see them winning, but Detroit is probably too fast for the Bruins. At least it seems. But you know what? Maybe Toronto woke them up. Maybe they realized, okay, this is what we have to do. Vancouver a couple of years ago.
Right. It's sounding like 2 years ago. But the Blackhawks are playing L.A. now, right?
Yeah.
So the Blackhawks are going to be playing L.A. in the finals.
I mean, some people are saying the Kings are going to walk all over them. I don't know. I don't know enough
Well,
about
they're
it.
very physical, I hear. So
Weston, there's always going to be that East-West type deal. And, I think sometimes what happens is teams borrow after a few years and it changes over. You get your lunch pail New York, Boston team, and then you have your speedy West Coast teams. But, that doesn't always cut it. The West Coast teams got to be tough, and the East Coast teams have to be fast.
So what are Lou's keys to victory?
The keys to victory. Well, you know what? They have to hit Crosby. You have to hit Malk. You have to hit Crosby again. And then when he's going to get off the ice, you need to hit him again. You need to do the little things to win this. Like, it's easy to say, oh, you got to get him off his game. How do you get one of the great players of the last decade out of his game? It's not an easy thing. Can you intimidate him? No. Can you maybe get him a little riled up if he doesn't get some early calls and guys are hitting him and pushing him around? It's happened before. It's happened to many players. As a matter of fact, speaking of Pittsburgh, it used to happen to Mario Lemieux at the end of his career. They realized that he could not handle that kind of thing, and then he became a whiner, and that's another story entirely, but who's to say they can't do that kind of thing, like what they did to Vancouver?
No, I want to ask you, what I'm noticing lately, especially in the Rangers series, are they changing their tactics? I'm seeing too much open ice for both teams. I saw a lot of open ice for the Bruins. I saw a lot of open ice for the Rangers, and then they pick them up and defensive players will do a pretty good job. But years ago, even 2 years ago in the Bruins, their back checking was tremendous.
I think it's the rules change more than anything else with the two-line passes. That
Yeah, definitely is that. I
But
mean,
even 2 years ago when they had that, I mean, their back checking was. I remember Horton coming back checking a couple of times on the two brothers, the two brothers for
Sedin, yeah, the
Sedin brothers.
yeah, I
you
think-
know, they'd be back there back checking. But here, there's a lot of open ice.
I want to say that they're somewhat back to playing similar to what they did 2 years ago. But, you know, like you said, the back check was tremendous. You know, I don't think you can win. You can't win a cup accidentally, I don't think. You can't win a cup without back checking, without some goaltending, occasional great stops. You can't win without scoring, can't win without occasional power plays, and without penalty killing. And when you think about the Bruins winning the cup, they had no power play. They scored a goal on the power play. It was miraculous.
well, they had absurd goaltending.
Every other part of their game, though, was lights out. They were back checking. They were getting the puck up ice. Their passing was crisp. Their penalty killing was good. And, you know, now you look at them and you say, all right, well, can Rask win a 1-0 game? Can he steal a 1-0 game? Can you see Penguins and Bruins 1-0? No, I see a bunch of 5-4
Well,
games.
It's going to come down to the power play for Pittsburgh. If the Bruins can stay out of the penalty box, they can't take stupid penalties like
Absolutely.
they did against the Rangers and against Toronto because Pittsburgh
Yeah.
will kill them.
Well, the other thing is they can't be as careless in their own end with the puck because Pittsburgh is going to finish. The Rangers really, you know, the guys like Rick Nash
And
just
that's
didn't score.
There is one other thing, though. The Rangers, I think, I don't want to call them a paper tiger, but I think at some point the Bruins realized we don't have to dump it and chase it because they're too slow. When we enter their zone, we can work the puck right in. They started working it in, drop passing, getting it on the net, and getting rebounds. And all of a sudden, they were creating offensive chances against the Rangers. They weren't doing that against Toronto.
Okay, who are the Bruins going to sit when Ferentz comes back?
That's
Hamilton's
a good one.
already sitting.
Yeah, you know what? Krug, look at him. Really, I mean, look at him. That shot
I
from
wouldn't
the
sit
point.
him. I mean, well, they could
be
switch
honest
with
with you.
Barkowski and him.
Seidenberg didn't look that good. He looks like he's still hurt. I mean, I would think that a guy of his stature, everybody wants to play, but you got to come out and say, look, I can't do the job. We got this kid. We can't sit him. You know, that's part of being a man in pro sports is to say, I can do better for my team by sitting.
Well, what's your pick?
I'm a homer. The Bruins in 6.
Bruins in 7.
Well, I better pick Pittsburgh to bring the Bruins luck, so I'll say Pittsburgh in 6.
Very good.
We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Paul Rabel from the Boston Cannons, and you're watching Let's Talk Sports.
Welcome back. You might ask yourself, where do great basketball coaches come from? For example, Dean Smith. Well, after going to college, he ended up being a math major and then went into the Air Force. Mike Krzyzewski. He went to that famous basketball school, the United States Military Academy at West Point, and then was a soldier, then went back to coach an Army. Bob Knight went to Ohio State, was a major in history and government. And some contemporaries. Shaka Smart has both a degree in history and a master's degree, I believe, in social science. And Brad Stevens from Butler has an economics degree and then was working at Applebee's before he started in the athletic department at Butler. So they're not all phys ed majors. Last I checked, none of them are phys ed majors. They didn't teach for years in college, but they knew a lot about basketball and knew how to motivate people. And speaking about basketball, the biggest controversy now is flopping. As you know, the NBA went to great lengths to prevent people from falling down playing pretend defense. And this last series with the Heat and the Pacers has gone from the sublime to the ridiculous with a double flop, with David West and LeBron both falling down like they punched each other.
How about LeBron fouling out?
Oh, I
on the
know.
last
LeBron
game?
ever fouling out is a miracle.
It's 2-2. I mean, I think Indiana matches up really well, although they really came out flat in that third game. But
Well, Indiana, they do have, they're tough up front. You know, Roy Hibbert is a legitimate 7-2 guy who can shoot a little bit with both hands, and he's a big, powerful.
he's moving good now too.
Yeah,
I mean, he
a-
moves
you
well
know,
on the floor now.
And Bosch is really kind of a string bean, so it's pretty hard for him to deal with Hibbert.
Right, Bosch kills you when James penetrates, kicks it out to Bosch, 3-point line wide open, and hits it. He's got the easiest job in the world, Bosch. I mean, he does nothing down low anymore, and that's where he hurts you. But that's the way Miami's set up. But I would love to see if Indiana can play better defense. They're giving up too many points.
Well,
and
I
that's
was
what's hurting them.
Lance Stevenson. It was ridiculous. Every time Ray Allen went near him, Allen would touch him and he'd fall back like he just got punched in the head.
Yeah.
But they've all been fine, so too much flopping. I know that everyone in the world thinks the Heat's going to win, and it's, the Pacers have no chance, but I'm not so sure. I think the Pacers still have a chance here. I mean, they got to win 2 out of 3. It can happen.
Yeah, and they can definitely do it. And I think whoever wins that series they'll beat San Antonio. San Antonio doesn't have enough offense anymore. I thought they had a better offensive team, but I've been watching their games. Parker's been leading them. Ginobili's not playing as well.
Duncan's not the same guy.
Duncan's not the same. And the other guys, like Hill and them, I mean, you can't count on them. Miami has better, believe it or not, where I thought San Antonio was deeper, I think Miami's deeper with scorers. I mean, guys that can hit that outside shot off of it. But the player that I really dislike is Wade. I told you before, he's sneaky dirty. He really is. He gets away with so much, Wade.
Well, speaking of dirty, the player the Pacers are concerned about is Battier. They say Battier is going for everybody's knees trying to take him out. Now, I don't know if he is or isn't, but that may be something to watch going down the stretch. Now, the Heat are tough because they like to trap out high, and if Indiana doesn't take care of the ball, then the Heat can score in transition.
They're good defensively, but see, the difference between Indiana and the Celtics is that they're younger, they move the ball quicker. With these Celtics, you get pierced high in a game where they're counting so much on him, he just becomes useless out there. And it's happened the last 3 years towards the end of the season where he gets exhausted.
Well, I think that, I'd be shocked if Pierce is back.
Well, I think he will be back, but he's got to play less minutes. Green will be the big guy next year. Sullinger will play a lot of minutes. You'll have Rondo back.
Well, they're talking about
They'll give him one more go, I think.
talking about a big package with Rondo and Sullinger in the draft choice, but I don't know what they're going to get for that.
No. Well, I would like to see, what my feeling is, if they can get another point guard. I mean, when Conley came out in the draft, I would have rather see Conley be the point guard than Rondo. He would have fit that team better, but now with a team where they're getting older, Rondo may be the better player for that team.
Yeah, it didn't really happen for Conley against the Spurs, but I'm not saying it was him.
But it's going to be Indiana. I was hoping the Spurs could give, if Miami won a series, but they can't.
Well, the Patriots are in off-season training activities, but the big story is Rob Gronkowski. Apparently, after 4 surgeries on his arm, now he's going to need back surgery.
I say get rid of him. I said that last year. You know what I think of him.
I know.
He's an idiot.
I think that,
Go with Ballard and Hernandez and get another tight end. Trade him if you can.
well, I think it's going to be tough sledding. Back surgery, when they say, oh, it's only a minor back surgery, I don't know what minor back surgery is. And, he's already had, I think he's had previous back surgery. And how's he going to be back in time for the fall? I just don't see it.
He's going to be out 12 weeks. They think that they talked to a doctor today from one of the hospitals in Boston, and he said, yeah, usually that type of operation, 6 weeks before he can resume activities, another 2 weeks to work on his back, the muscles, and then 2 more weeks before he can really get into playing. But to me, 6 weeks and then 2 weeks and then 2 weeks.
I mean, you're going to get totally
That's
out of shape.
serious.
You're going to lose muscle mass, of course, because you're not going to be working out.
But I mean, he has a broken arm and he's over there body slamming
Well,
people.
exactly. My concern is his maturity, his ability to take care of his body. No question he's a fantastic football player, but if you can't stay on the field because you're not really doing the right thing.
And Belichick, he doesn't take anything from anyone, no matter how good you are.
Right.
And he's letting Gronkowski do all this. I mean, I would sit down. The first time he did it, I would have sat down with him. And Gronkowski would probably say, well, it's on my own time. He goes, no, it isn't. I said, no, not under this contract we just gave you, $8 million guaranteed a year.
Well, there's a lot to watch with the Patriots this year. For example, the wide receiver competition. Certainly, everybody's excited about this Dobson guy, but he hasn't played in the NFL. Jenkins is big. He's experienced. He can catch the ball. You got to beat him out. Surprisingly, there's competition in the kicking game this year. Mesko, I think, is going to make $1.4 million, and if the Patriots can save $1 million with a rookie punter wwho won the Ray Guy Award,
That's crazy. They saved all that money with Brady's new contract. They're going to let Mesko go for because he's making $1.4 million.
well, we'll see.
He's giving all this money away, and then with, the guy that I hope is healthy when the season starts is Edelman. I think he brings a lot to the team with his punt returning, in the slot.
Well,
He's a slot receiver at times.
The guy they said who's looked surprisingly good, which again is in the category of can he stay on the field, is Rossai Dowling. He said he's looked very athletic and breaking up passes, but he's never been able to play 3
He
games
looked good
in a
last
row.
year too until he got hurt again.
He was always hurt in college, and it's kind of in the, I'm from Missouri, show me category of players. And then Adrian Wilson, who everybody says is just a beast back there.
They're a deep team, Ron. They're a deep team. They're going to be one of the best teams in football. As long as Brady stays healthy, they're going to win. They're going to make the playoffs, and they'll have a chance to win it. Will they come together and to be the best team? My feeling, with 2 midgets playing defensive line in the middle, when neither one of them can get their hand high enough to bother the quarterback or penetrate the middle enough. Everybody constantly talks about.
Well, they went to Tommy Kelly, who's 6'6"
Yeah,
now.
Tommy Kelly could be big, and that guy they got from Canada could help him.
Oh, Armand, I can't remember his last
But,
name.
I mean, when they talk about Jones and Ninkovich and the number 2 draft pick, that guy from SMU, is it? Not SMU.
Collins
Collins.
from Mississippi.
You talk about them, they're all rushing from the outside. And my thinking is when you have guys rushing from the outside, you don't get to the quarterback,
can
you're not in the
step up.
play. You're not in the play. You're looking up, the quarterback's looking down the field, no one in front of him. I mean, they say Wolfhard is the second most important player in that team. Well, he is because he's a veteran probably, but he hurts them in passing situations. What does he do in a passing situation to help the team? He never penetrates the middle. If he penetrates, it's 2 steps. Quarterback, he's not bothering the quarterback. He's never in the quarterback's face, and he's too small to get his arm up to bother the quarterback. You need big guys in the middle. Like Kelly maybe will help in the middle. Love they can't cut.
Well, they missed Jones when he was hurt the second half of the season.
But he was an outside rusher.
No, I know, but he still was effective.
He got
And-
tired though as the season went on. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He only got 8 sacks. Here's the thing though, Ron. People don't realize. He got 8 sacks. Ninkovich got 8 sacks. There's 16 games, so between the two of them, they average 1 sack a game from the outside.
Yeah.
So where were they the rest of the plays on passing situations? Not in the quarterback's face. They're blocked to the outside, and they're not a part of the defense.
Well, you can never have too much of a pass rush, and certainly one of the teams they have to beat is the Ravens, and we know the Ravens have an incredibly big offensive line that didn't let anybody near Flacco.
And if they give Flacco all that money, knowing that the offensive line is what did it, I mean, any quarterback could have stood in that pocket. Flacco got the benefit of it. He should buy them all a Mercedes on that offensive line. You kidding me?
The offensive line was outstanding, and
But it's amazing.
I mean,
when
you're going to
people-
beat the Welker thing to death, but I think that Welker's time was just gone.
Well, he
I
dropped the
think-
2 most important passes of his career.
I won't argue.
He might have cost him 2 Super Bowls.
So
So what do you do? I mean, you can't get that upset. I mean, he was a hard-nosed player. He was really good. But I think they have enough there now. And if Gronkowski gets healthy, even though you still have Edelman and you have, what's his name, Amendola? What's his name?
Hernandez? Oh, Amendola.
Amendola.
Well, it's always about getting enough players healthy because it's so, you lose one. Well, let's say you lose Brady, then you don't even have to worry about it.
And then they have Washington returning kickoffs. And if
Right.
Edelman's healthy, returning punts. So they're going to be in great shape returning kickoffs and punts. I mean, they're going to be deep again. Brady stays healthy. They're going to make the playoffs. They have a chance to win the Super Bowl. That's all you want. And you hope they do it because, you want it to end with Brady winning one more. Just like Jeter when he won 4 in a row back,
Mm-hmm.
and then they won one a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. It's great. It's great for their
I hope Bill Belichick
Reputation.
isn't feeling too badly. He's no longer the highest paid coach in the NFL. I think Sean Payton has taken
Peyton.
over.
Peyton?
I think Peyton's getting $8 million and Belichick $7.5, something like that. Of course, Peyton didn't coach last year because he was on suspension.
Look at all the money he's making for Kraft, him and Brady. It's unbelievable the money Kraft's making because of those 2 guys.
Well, and unlike Fenway Park, there's no empty seats at Gillette Stadium. So, Kraft's really raking it in
Well,
there.
plus he's got, 30,000 people on the waiting list?
I don't know that.
I don't know if it's still that. It was up there.
Well, wouldn't be shocking. And the other thing about the Patriots is there's no soccer team or some other issue. And the Revolution, you know, they're not that worried about that.
But you know the whole thing about the Patriots, though, people love to tailgate. You know, you get the younger people, they love to have a few beers, eat, you know, make it a day. I remember when I went to a game 2 years ago, I said, this is the last one I'm going to. There's so many timeouts run. You're
Well,
sitting there's a whistle, timeout, you're waiting 2.5 minutes.
It's true. It must be a tremendous distraction for the players. It doesn't really seem like it when you're watching it on television because a couple ads, you get up, go, you know, get a soda or whatever. But when you're at the game and it's, you know, 15 degrees and the players are sitting around for 2.5 minutes waiting for the
Yeah.
ref to get the ball in play.
Like if you have a Monday night game
Oh.
and there's a commercial, I can turn on Dancing with the Stars and watch it for 2.5 minutes and then get back.
Well, it should be a very fascinating rest of the sports year. We have the Celtics with the NBA draft. You know, I don't know who, maybe Shane Larkin from
Who's
Miami.
that big guy from New Zealand is talking. Larkin I love from Miami.
Well, that's what I mean.
Oh, I love him.
Larkin would be a
If
good.
he's around, that'd be a heck of a pick.
I don't know if he'll last that long. And then you have the Red Sox who will, at least in contention. I'm not saying they're going to be staying there, but they're doing well right now.
They will be.
And the Stanley Cup conference finals. So really not much more you can ask for as a sports fan.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward towards the Pittsburgh series, and then if they win that, it's either the Blackhawks or LA. So there's two great series coming. Even if they lose it, you got Pittsburgh going up against one of those two teams. So it's good. I mean, I like hockey. I like hockey now, especially Stanley Cup type hockey, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
We'll see you again soon. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph Labella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.